All right, guys. So my name is Gediminas, and we just got back from the GoPro Recruiting Mastery by Eric Worre 2018. It was an insane event. I cannot describe in words what we experienced there. The energy, the people, the noise, the vibrations of the whole room. You have to be there. You know, I was thinking throughout, the 3 days and on my way back on an airplane, how could I put this energy to you? How could I carry these ideas and the energy to you? It's just, I cannot. You need to be there, So, and next year is going to be the 10th GoPro Recruiter Mastery. So it's going to be huge. It's going to be bigger than it's ever been. And, this year we had Les Brown, we had John Maxwell, we had Magic Johnson. In previous years, they've had people like Tony Robbins, Brendan Burchard, Sir Richard Branson, just to name a few, right? So imagine what Eric Worre is going to do on the 10th anniversary. It's going to be insane, right? So I actually, in our team group, I said that I'm going to do something special. And what basically I did, because I got so much value from that event and I believe that you could get so much value, I actually went ahead and bought 10 tickets myself, because usual price for that event is about $700. But during those 3 days, during the event time, we were able to buy 10 tickets for $2,500, which works out $250 per ticket, basically saving you around $500 on the ticket. So what I did, I got 10 tickets, and if you're in my team, I need you to be there next year. So what I'm going to do, to fly to Las Vegas costs about £500. The hotel, if you share, it's a bit cheaper, but let's assume that you're on your own, that's another £500. So that's £1,000 plus £200 for the actual event ticket. It works out £1,200. So if you're in my team and you commit to go next year, 2019, to GoPro number 10, what I'll do, I'll work with you personally to make sure that you make more than £1,200 before the event. How does that sound? So I will work with you one-to-one to make sure that you make the money, because I need you to be there. I cannot bring the energy from over there. I know if you're going to be there, your life is going to change. We had stories of, Eric Worre, how he went and slept in a car in his first time when he watched Jeff Roberti, and then everything unlocked for him. We heard stories of Jeff Roberti sleeping in his car and washing in the gym for the hotel to attend the event, and his life changed. We had a guy from Brazil or from Venezuela. He was there last year at the GoPro event, making not a lot of money. He was only there with 4 people, and he didn't have enough money for Uber to come from Stratosphere, where he was staying, to the actual event hotel. So he had to walk every day 30 to 45 minutes walking to event every day, because you couldn't afford $8 for the Uber. This year he came back after using what he learned last year. This year he came back, he's making $80,000 a month, and there was 135 people of his in the stands. I don't know, there was another guy 4 years ago, he was first time at GoPro, making $200 a week. This year, he was on a stage making $3.2 million this year. So I don't know, I could carry on all night about what that event does for people. And I think, I think it's going to explode our business. So I cannot say to you, hey, it was great. You have to be there to understand it, right? So that's my offer. If you want to go there, if you want your life to change, then let me know after this training, and I will work with you personally to make sure that you make more than $1,200 that you need to get to that event. And trust me, it's going to be the best event of your life. But let's crack on now onto this training. So I'm not going to be sort of talking about one topic, because I'm going to be jumping from point to point, because there were a bunch of different speakers giving loads of different value, giving a lot of good tips and good advice about building network marketing business, about mindset and many other things. So I'm just going to try and cover as much as I can, because obviously we haven't got much time, but I'm going to try and cover as much as I can. Okay, so first thing, what's the most important thing in your business to determine longevity of your business? And many people think, well, maybe it's a great quality product. You have to have a unique product. Other people think maybe it's the marketing plan. If your marketing plan can pay extra 5% there and extra 5% there, then maybe that's going to determine the greatness of your business. Other people say maybe it's the leadership, maybe it's different things. But actually, the biggest thing that will determine your success in network marketing and the longevity of your business is how many influencers you have on your team. How many influencers you have on your team. It actually takes about 25 influencers on your team for you to hit $1 million income, right? A seven-figure income. So what is an influencer? Well, there's 5 characteristics that an influencer has. Characteristic number 1, influencer is an independent leader, right? So they can operate the business without the help of their sponsor, without the help of other people, right? They can be independent. Now, will they use the help if it's offered? Of course, but they're independent enough to be able to build their own business without always being, attached with the umbilical cord to their sponsor, etc., right? And as I'm going through these, think whether you are an influencer and how many influencers you have in your team. The second characteristic of an influencer is they are problem solvers. So they're not the people who focus on the problem, but they're the people who focus on the solution. So we know that in business, there's going to be a lot of challenges, always. There's just no other way around it. There's always going to be challenges. You cannot escape that. But what an influencer does, they solve those problems. As soon as they get across the problem, they go, okay, how can I fix that? How can I solve it? Instead of going, that's it, I have this problem, I can't do this business anymore, instead of getting paralyzed by it, right? Number 3, they are consistent. And I've been banging on about consistency now for a long time. And I think it's one of the most important things. We heard from one speaker to the next, to the next, to the next, all throughout the 3 days. You have to be consistent. For this business to work for you, you have to be consistent. I just cannot emphasize enough. I cannot say how important that is. Whether you doing your Facebook lives, whether you're recruiting people on Facebook, whether you're talking to people on the street, whether you're calling leads, whatever you do in this business, if you're not consistent, you're not going to have results. But if you're consistent, you can get results with almost anything. If you just stay consistent, if you do it over and over and over and over and over again, every day, not Monday to Friday, not when you feel like it, every single day. If you do something consistently, you'll see how you're going to start getting results. One of the examples, I have, when we first got started in business, we did some leafleting. We leafleted like the whole area, like 500 leaflets, and nobody came to our presentation. And I straight away made a decision that leafleting doesn't work. And for 8 years, I was telling my team, don't do leafleting doesn't work. Only to learn that leafleting does work if you leaflet the same area 8 weeks in a row, same day, same time on every single week. If you do that, guess what? Leafleting starts working because people get used to you. People start seeing, oh, this again. There must be something going on with this, right? So it's about consistency. My Facebook Live, some of you are watching my Facebook Lives. Today was live number 86 or 87, right? So for the last almost 90 days, I've been going live every single day. Doesn't matter, it rains or snows, whether, in UK, not in UK, whether it's Monday or Sunday, doesn't matter. It's consistency, right? And consistency will get you results. Number 4, influencers create action. So they create action where action wouldn't have happened unless they were there. So they can walk in a room of distributors and make them produce more. They can talk to the group of distributors and make them produce more. They can do a training and make people to produce more, right? So influencers, again, they create action. They talk to people individually, in groups, etc., whichever way, and they influence them to perform more, to produce more activity. And finally, number 5, influencers have big vision. They have a big vision. They want to go places. They are not the people who go, yeah, it'd be nice to make some extra cash, right? These are not influencers. Influencers very often, they'll have a huge vision. They'll have a huge idea where they want to go. So ask yourself that question. Do I have those 5 characteristics of influencer? Am I independent? Am I a problem solver? Am I consistent with what I'm doing? Am I creating action myself and also influencing other people to create action? And do I have a big vision? Do I know where I'm going? If you have those qualities, or if you're lacking at some, you might need to work on some to become a real influencer. But then your focus should be always on training people in your team to become influencers. These influencers will give stability to your business, where your business will become unshakable, where it can last decades and decades and decades. The companies who ride on the brand new product, on the brand new marketing plan idea, etc., they're here today, gone tomorrow. But companies and people who build teams on the solid foundation of building leaders within the business have businesses that last 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and so on, right? And what does the person need to be able to become an influencer? All they need to be is hungry. So if you have somebody in your team who's hungry enough, you can train them to become an influencer. You can help them to develop all of those qualities, but they have to be hungry. If they're not hungry, it's very difficult to make a person hungry, right? And part of producing influencers within your team is inoculation. So it's preparing people that there will be challenging times. You know, I know all of us want to join a business and for it to go like this, all the way to the top, right? But a lot of you who've been in this industry for a while, you know that it doesn't work like that. It doesn't matter what company you join. You can join any company you want. It'll go like this, then in flat plateau. Sometimes it will dip, then it will go back up again, etc. It'll dip again, etc. But if you don't have influencers, what happens if you have people who are not influencers, as soon as that dip happens, as soon as the company hits a challenge, as soon as there's something, they abandon ship like rats. They run to another company, they run to another opportunity, etc. But when you build influencers, stable leaders, they understand that there will be good times, there will be momentum, and there will be tougher times, right? And every company will go through it without exception, right? But they know that even when the dip happens, they have to stay consistent, they have to keep producing, and the business will always pick back up. It's like same like stocks and shares. You know, they never just go up and up and up. All stocks have corrections. They go up, then have a correction, then go up, then have a correction. That's how the world works, right? So that's quite an important part of the training, you know, in terms of influences. You know, keep developing leaders in your team, keep developing influencers in your team. That's the sure way to ensure your business for a longevity. Okay. The other thing is a great game plan for you to connect with people. And a lot of people sometimes say, well, I'm on social media, but I'm not sure how to find new people, how to connect with people. And one of the best things to do is to think of what do you like already, right? So let's say you are into dogs, right? Well, then go and find Facebook groups to do with dogs and look for Instagram hashtags to do with dogs, right? And then engage with those people because you already have something in common with them. So start conversations, answer their questions on the groups, maybe provide some sort of value, etc. So think about what you like already outside of this business. Maybe you like, I don't know, like first thing that pops to my head is lamps. And some of you know why lamps pop into my head, right? Or anything else, right? Think about things that you like. Maybe you're into computers, maybe you're in race cars, maybe you're into something. So think, what are you interested in already? And then go and find Facebook groups and go and find, if you're on Instagram hashtags to do with that, and go engage those people, because you can easily build a relationship with them because you already like something that they like, right? So you have something in common, you can talk about them and then create relationships. And from those relationships, then they might become your potential customers, might become your potential team members. Also, when you're on social media and you're writing a copy of your posts, especially if it's a text post, but also you can use it in your videos, try to create the copy designed for all personalities. So you know that we have 4 major personalities. We have the blue ones, the party animals. We have the green ones, the analytical ones, the numbers people. We have the yellow ones, the helpers who like to help everybody, etc. And then we have the red ones, the CEOs, the company directors, the people who, you know, very ambitious, etc. So when you're creating your posts, try to always incorporate a little bit of everything. So this way people can, everybody can basically relate to your post, okay? All right, okay. Next, recruiting in new areas. You know, some of you might have a desire to build business in new areas, in new cities, maybe even new countries. So one of the great ways to do that is think about where you're gonna go in 2019. So maybe you've got a holiday booked in Turkey. Maybe you've got a holiday booked back in Lithuania or in Germany or wherever, right? So think about all the places that you're planning to go in 2019 and start joining groups, Facebook groups, that are for those cities. So let's say I'm from Lithuania, and let's say I'm planning to go to Lithuania in January, right? So I might now join groups in cities where I'm going to be visiting, and I might start asking questions like, what's the best museum to go in Kaunas? What's the best place to get your car washed in Vilnius? So I can start asking questions in those groups and start creating conversations and connecting with other people, right? And when people are going to be answering those questions, I can thank them, I can add them as a friend, except because now we started communicating, right? We've got something in common because they're from the same city that I'm visiting, etc. And I could even, be planning to go to a foreign country. Again, I could join groups there and again, ask for the same advice, etc., and start connecting with people. So by the time you go to that place, you can actually message people and go, hey, John, by the way, I'm actually coming to your city, next week. Would you like to meet up for a cup of coffee? I'd like to share something super exciting with you, and I'm only going to be visiting for a week. After that, I'm back in the UK, and, but if you don't mind, I'd love to meet up for a cup of coffee, share something with you, right? So think about those things. It's all, as you'll see a pattern, it's all about connecting with people. It's all about finding something in common, because too often people go on Facebook and just go spam, 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 just message anybody about anything, and it's just from people, they can't relate to that. But if you're connecting with people, first of all, and then messaging them about something, then it's bigger chance that they will accept, that they will listen, etc. Because all of the business is conversation, so start conversations. One of the, I'm going to give you a few homeworks today. And the first homework that I'm going to give you now is whatever amount of friends you have on your Facebook, whether you have 200 friends or 500 friends or 1,000 friends or 10,000 friends, well, you can't have 10,000 friends, you can have up to 5,000 friends. Your homework, the first homework for today, and you might want to write this down, is to start a conversation with every single person that you have on your friends list. You cannot imagine how much business, how many new recruits, how many new customers you're going to gain just out of this exercise. Make a goal to yourself, 5 a day, 10 a day, 15 a day, 20 a day. I don't care what the number is, but start going through your friends list on Facebook and make sure that every single person you have a conversation with them. About what? I don't give a monkeys, about what? Start talking to them about something you see on their profile. Ask them how are they, ask them how they've been, ask them what do they do for a living nowadays. I don't care. Start conversations, and out of those conversations will follow customers, will follow team members, etc. So start conversations with people. Okay. Also, as Instagram stories and Facebook stories are getting more and more momentum, what you want to do, you want to make sure that you not overcrowding your feed, which means your timeline on Facebook. You should be posting maybe 1, 2, or 3 posts a day. You shouldn't be putting something on your timeline every 5 minutes. However, focus on posting more on your stories. If you haven't been, when you're putting a post on Facebook and it gives you option to post on your timeline and your story, make sure that you always tick the story as well, right? And do some posts just on your stories, because stories are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So you want to make sure to use those stories, because some people now are no longer scrolling through the feed. They're just watching the stories at the top. So you want to make sure that you're using those stories to take advantage of them. And you can do a bunch of great stuff on stories. We'll maybe do a more technical training at a later date where I can share some ideas for you guys, what you could do on stories and how you can post links on stories and things like that. We had a guy called Magic Johnson. He was a super successful basketball player in Los Angeles Lakers, made millions, playing basketball. But then, unlike most athletes, he had the brain to use the money to start businesses. And now he's worth millions and millions, actually hundreds of millions as a business person. In these few things that he shared, one is try to always over-deliver to your customers. And for me, that's very important in few ways. Yeah, you need to over-deliver to your customers, but who else are your customers, guys? Your team members. Your team members are your customers, right? So make sure that you're always over-delivering to your customers, to your team members too, because they are your first customers, right? And they are the most important customers, if you like, right? So try to always over-deliver to your customers, whether it's in training, in support, in help, in relationship, in whatever, right? Also, don't worry about competition too much. I see a lot of you who panic every time you see another company who does cosmetics or another company who does whatever matches your product, right? Don't worry about competition, because what competition does, they make you better. Your competition makes you a better person. Your competition makes you a better business person. So don't worry about competition, because again, if somebody copying you, if somebody copying your company, what does that mean? It means you're doing something right. Because if your company was crap, nobody would be copying it, right? So, you know, again, think about that and always be prepared, you know, especially prepared for the challenges. Like I said earlier on, and I'll probably repeat myself a couple of times today, is that there's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be the next problem with the shipping. They're always going to be in the next problem with the product. There's always going to be the next problem with something else. So be prepared that there will be challenges, and don't duck and dive. Don't stick your head in the sand when the challenges come, but be prepared for them and go, hey, I knew it's going to come. I knew we're going to have this challenge. Let's just carry on. Let's just keep building the business, right? And there's really 3 things you need to become successful in network marketing. And 1 is burning desire, you know, being hungry. 2 is being willing to work. You know, unless you're prepared to work, I can tell you, you're not going to succeed in this business. I can guarantee you're not going to succeed in this business unless you're prepared to work your ass off. And number 3, you have to be teachable. You know, if you are a glass full person who knows everything, then it's very difficult to help you. It's very difficult to support you because you already know everything. So how can we help you? Very, very difficult, right? But if you're the person who is humble and goes, you know what? I don't know everything. If I knew everything, I'd be making $1 million in network marketing. And because I'm not, probably there is some things that I can learn. So always be humble and try, you know, to learn, you know, because unless you learn the lesson, the life will bring you all the way back around to the same lesson again and again and again. You know, so some of you been having same challenges, you know, many times in your life, and you're surprised, oh, why is this keep coming up? Why is it? Because you haven't learned the lesson. So life keeps bringing you back to the lesson until you learn it, right? And ask yourself, you know, would you follow you? You know, if you're struggling to recruit, if you're struggling to attract people, ask yourself, would I follow me? You know, and what you need to think about, what you need to look at is your work ethic. Are you working hard enough to attract other people? Are you disciplined enough? And again, the magic word, are you consistent enough, right? Because when you're consistent, people start noticing you. You know, the first time you offer your home-based business to somebody, they might go, yeah, whatever, I'll think about it. But when they see you keep showing up, when they see you on social media, when they see you at training events, when they see you running business presentations, when they see you recruiting people consistently, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, at the end, you know, they go, that girl is serious. She's not giving up on this thing. You know, she keeps going. I need to join her, you know, because whatever she's doing, it's working. You know, whatever he's doing, it looks like, you know, he's not quitting, so it must be working, right? So stay consistent, right? Because this is very, very vital. You know, this is like, you want to write this down. You are rewarded in public for what you do in private. You are rewarded in public for what you do in private. A lot of you, you know, recruit one person and go, hey, everybody, look, I recruited one person, right? What you want to do, you want to be working in silence and let your results show. Don't worry, people will notice you. Once you start making 10,000 a month, once you start making 20,000 a month, 30,000 a month, guess what? You're going to get a lot of calls. You're going to get a lot of noticing, right? So let the results speak for you. You know, work in silence and let the results talk for you. You will be rewarded in public for what you do in private, okay? And have the RPM. RPM stands for R is results focused. So always be focused on producing results. You know, not on watching dancing cats on Facebook all day, not on whatever, you know, but always be focused on results. P is purpose driven. What's your purpose? You know, if the only reason why you do this business is to make some money, I can tell you it's not a very strong purpose. It's not very powerful. It's not going to get you jump out of your bed. You know, it's not going to make you work when you don't feel like it. So you have to find a purpose in this. What will you do when you make the money? You know, we had a lot of $1 million earners at this training. And what does $1 million mean a year? It means $83,000 a month. So think for yourself for a moment, you know, if $83,000 landed in your bank account today, what would you do? Maybe pay off your credit card debts, maybe pay off your car, whatever. But then next month comes and boom, 83,000 lands in your bank account again. What happens now? Well, maybe you pay half of your mortgage out. Awesome. Next month, boom, again 83,000. After 6, 7, 8 months, you run out of things to pay off. What happens then? You know, it'd be obscene just to spend that money on handbags or shoes. I know some of you could do that, right? But it's just like, it's going to get to the point where probably you're going to start supporting some causes, some charity work, doing some things. You know, we had some stories there at this GoPro that I was in tears. You know, one lady, she's actually from UK, $1 million earner. She went to Africa to build a water well. And as they were building this water well in this village, a young child, like a 2-year-old baby, died because of malaria. And they realized that all they would have taken to save that baby was $1. That's how much the vaccination cost. So she then decided to open a medical center, and that medical center now saved 100 children's lives a day. And it's all paid by her network marketing commissions. How would you feel about that? Probably quite good, knowing that you're saving 100 kids' lives every single day because you spoke to those strangers, because you prospected those people, because you did those presentations, right? It no longer becomes that, oh, I'm just doing this to make another 10 pounds. I'm just doing this to sell another sample kit. No, the reason why you're doing it is a bigger cause. Another lady, Susan Sly, you know, she used her network marketing commissions to build a center in a third world country to save the girls from underage prostitution. You know, she saved girls who are 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, who were put into prostitution. Can you think about that? Can you even imagine the trauma that these kids go through? And she used her money to save those kids. Even now as I'm talking, I'm getting a bit emotional, you know? So think about what's your purpose in this business. You know, why are you doing this? You know, not just, yeah, I just need to make some money. You know, money will come, but find a purpose, find something bigger than you, find something bigger than just money, okay? And number 3 is massive action plan, RPM. M is massive action plan. You know, do you have that massive action plan where you decide, you know what, I will go 100%? And ask yourself a question. Have you ever gone 100% in your life? For most of you, it'll probably be no, because I know for me, I've never gone 100%. You know, I think now I'm ready, you know, after this event for sure. You know, and we have a lot of women here on this call as well. And I know some of you will have the mom guilt. You know, and the mom guilt is where, you know, when you do decide to take this business seriously and to really go at it 100%, guess what? You'll feel like, you know, you'll feel the guilt that you're not spending enough time with your kids. You'll feel the guilt that, oh, maybe I should have read them a bedtime story, but I was building the business, etc. Trust me, there were women there whose kids are now grown up, and those kids are in business, and they're thanking their moms for spending those 2 years, those 5 years, those whatever years to build that huge business to where today they have a life like no other kids. You know, so don't worry about the mom guilt. You know, your kids will thank you one day for going hard instead of just going, yeah, whatever, you know, just doing the whatever business for the rest of your life, okay? Which will not give a better life to them, which will not give a better life to you, etc. And by the way, done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. So don't worry about, I need to be perfect. I need to have the perfect makeup. I need to do the perfect presentation. I need to do the perfect Facebook Live before I start. You'll never start. Done is better than perfect. So just do it, whichever way you're doing it, and you'll get it perfect later. Don't worry about it too much. Okay? And you know, when it comes to belief, it's important to have a belief in yourself. But the most important time to have a belief in yourself is when you're failing. And you will fail. I can promise you, there will be days when you will be a complete failure. You'll be calling people and everybody will be saying no to you. You'll be messaging people and everybody will be saying to F off and whatever, right? You'll have those days when you feel like you are a failure, like you're not getting results, etc. That's the most important time for you to have a belief in yourself, just to say, hey, it's just a one bad day. It's not going to last. I just keep going at it, right? Never stop, right? And you have to have that belief in your company. You have to have a belief in your products. You have to have a belief in this industry, but most importantly, you have to have a belief in yourself that you're good enough, you're strong enough, you whatever enough. You have everything what it takes to become successful in this business, because the world is not being served by you playing small. As you probably already guessed from my stories before, if you play small, you're not going to save those children. You're not going to save those kids. You're not going to give education for people. You're not going to support your community, etc. So if you play small, not only you punishing you and your immediate family, but you're punishing a lot more people by playing small, by not going and getting whatever you get. Because you can get, big money in this business. You could become $1 million earner. So if you're only making 1,000 a year or a few thousand a year, that means you're not only punishing yourself, but a bunch of other people who you could have impacted if you just went 100% in, right? And don't let the no's get to you. There will be people saying no to you, who won't join your business, who won't buy your product. And you know what? Most people quit after they hear 10 no's. Most people will quit after they heard 10 people say no to them. So, you know, it's somewhere in here, I'm sure I'll get to that. But Eric Worre gave a very good quote. He said, you can tell the size of a man or a woman by the size of a problem that takes to get them down, or that takes to get them out. So ask yourself a question: how big does the problem have to be for you to quit this business and give up on those children, and give up on your family, and give up on your dreams, and give up on your community? How big the problem has to happen? If the dream is big enough, guess what? There's no that problem doesn't exist in the world that would stop you, right? But if your dream is that big, then any problem can get you out. Any problem can knock you out, and you go, I had enough. Go back to my real job for £6 an hour, right? Don't do that. Don't do that, right? Obviously, we spend a lot of time learning the 7 skills: finding prospects, inviting prospects, presenting, follow-up, closing, getting started, and promoting events. I'm not going to get into those 7 skills today, because actually I'm going to be doing a live training very, very soon on the 7 skills, probably in Luton. So for some of you, it's going to be a drive where you will be able to attend it live. And we're going to go through those 7 skills, because it's a long training. It's about a 3-hour training, but we need to get back to basics. Once in a while, we need to get back into basics. And I realized that a lot of new people who came into the business, they haven't been trained in the 7 skills. They don't know how to find people. They don't know how to invite people. They don't know how to present. So we're going to do that, but we're going to do that in a live training. Okay. So I gave you first homework earlier on, and that was, what was it? Oh, I forgot it already. No, your first homework was to have a conversation with every single friend that you have on Facebook. The second homework, I'll tell you in just a second. But before that, I'll tell you 4 parts to your story. So one thing you have to get really good at is telling your story, because you should be telling your story every time before you do a presentation, every time before you do a training, every time before you do a webinar. Every single time you should be telling your story to your prospects, to your team members, etc. And what your story should involve is, first, your background. So what did you do before you came into network marketing? 2, how did you found the solution? Oh, no. Stop. First, your background. 2, what you didn't like about where you were. So, you know, whatever you didn't like about your job or your previous career, that's the 2. 3, how you found the solution, how you found network marketing. So maybe your brother-in-law invited you, maybe your husband invited you, maybe your friend invited you, etc. And then 4, how you feel about your future or your results so far. So my story goes like that. You know, before I joined network marketing, I used to work with autistic children in a school, because I'm a psychologist by specialty. But as I was studying to become a psychologist in university, I used to work as a security guard. And I used to earn about £1,600 a month, about £1,600 a month. Then I graduated from university, got my degree in psychology, got a job in a school, started working with autistic children, and started earning £950 a month instead. So I took a 50% decrease in pay after finishing university. That, of course, shocked my system that it's even possible, and I started looking for something better. And then, not soon after that, my wife comes home with a DVD and goes, you have to take a look at this. And it was the business opportunity presentation for our network marketing company. And of course, we got started. And now, 8 years later, thanks to this business, we've got trips to Cyprus, Mallorca, Indonesia, Dubai, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Greece, Germany, Russia, Ukraine, America, Latvia. Like we've traveled a lot. We got a car from the company as a gift. And most importantly, we get to work, you know, around our children, our family commitments, etc. So that's my story anyway, right? I tell what I did before. I tell what I didn't like, that I didn't get paid enough. I tell how I found it. And I tell, you know, what we got out of business so far. Or you can share your vision. So if you haven't got many things yet from the business, then you can share your vision that, but now, you know, I'm on track to earn this money. I'm going to build this business. I'm going to reach this position. I'm going to retire my husband, or whatever is your goals, right? So that's your story. So first of all, create your story, practice it a bit, right? You know your story, so it shouldn't be too difficult. And then your homework is to tell your story to 100 people. So instead of trying to present your business right away to people, instead of trying to pitch, you know, your product to people, start telling your story. When you're talking to people, first of all, tell them their story. Hey, can I tell you my story? You know, when they ask you, what do you do for a living? You say, oh, can I tell you my story? I'll tell you what I'm doing for a living, you know, and tell them your story, share your story. It will get people connected with you a lot more than you pitching them your business opportunity, or than you giving them your catalog. When you tell your story why you're in this business, why you're doing it, people will be able to relate to that. Like when I share my story that I was not being paid enough in my job, how many people do you think can relate to that? Like everybody, right? Not being paid enough in their jobs. So when I tell them, this is the problem I had, this is the pain I had, and I use this business to solve that pain, guess what's going through their mind? Well, I'm not being paid enough either. So maybe I could use this business too to solve that problem. Do you think then they will be a lot more open to listen about my business opportunity? Do you think then they will be more open to hear about my products? Absolutely. So use your story. Tell your story to at least 100 people, and you'll see what's going to start happening. You're going to start getting some people who will be curious about, so how do I join? How do I get started in this? Okay? And don't fall in love with potential, because potential is cheap. I'm talking about in other people. So when you see other people, don't fall in love with potential. A lot of you are going like, if only that person joined my team. Oh my gosh, it would be so wonderful. They're so great. They're so huge. Like if they join my team, it would explode everything. Potential is cheap. Everybody has potential. Like a lot of people, maybe not, but like most people have potential to do great in this business, but they will never do this business. Instead, fall in love with hunger. Hunger is expensive, because there's only few people who are hungry to change their life. There's only few people who are hungry to go and do something about it, right? So instead of falling in love with potential, fall in love with hunger. We've got about less than a minute left, so we're gonna get cut off in a minute, and then we're all just gonna jump back on the same link. And even though in network marketing, you don't have a boss, there's nobody there to kick you around and to tell you what you do, you should have a boss, and your boss should be your calendar. Your calendar should be your boss. So if your calendar is empty at the moment, it's bad. It's bad sign. So your calendar should be always full with appointments, with presentations, with follow-up calls, with trainings, with meetings, etc. If your calendar is empty today, it's not because of today. That means yesterday and last week you didn't do anything because you haven't booked any appointments with people, you haven't booked any follow-up. And if your calendar is empty next week, it's because you haven't been doing anything today. So make your calendar your boss, where every morning you wake up, you open up, and it should be full. It should be telling you, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to call this person, you need to follow up with that person, etc. Right? Make the calendar your boss. Okay. And also, when we talk about testimonials, when people give motivational testimonials, when they give inspiring testimonials, you can't have a great testimonial without a test. So if you're being tested right now in your life, if you're going through some stuff that sucks, it's good. That's your test. Later on, you'll be able to use this in your testimonial. So if you're speaking to people and they're not listening to you, if you're trying to do a meeting and nobody attends, if you're going through some tough stuff, great, because that stuff is going to be in your testimonial. These are the tests that you will be able to use in your testimonial. Okay? And ask yourself a question. Okay, so that we finished with what do you believe about you? Because how you see yourself is how the world's going to see you. So it's super, super important. People will be attracted to you or won't be attracted to you because the way they see yourself, right? So it's really important to have that belief in yourself that I can do whatever I want, I can achieve whatever I want, because your decisions will shape your destiny. Okay? Also, when you're talking to people and maybe you show them the business and they're not super excited right away to jump in your business, always use this before you say no. Like you do so much work to get the person to take a look at your business. Don't be so easy to give up on them. Don't be so easy to let them go. So if you show the business to somebody and they go, oh, you know what, I don't think it's for me. Go, hey, look, before you say no, Pam, why don't you try the product? Or before you say no, Anna, why don't you attend one of our meetings and see what happens? Hey, Sharon, before you say no, why don't you check out this video? Maybe it might inspire you, etc. So don't be too easy to let the prospect go if they are having doubts, if they're not sure if the business will work for them, right? Because sometimes people need more than one exposure. They might need 2, 3, 4 exposures to make a decision to become part of your business. And when you're dealing with objections, you have 4 parts. 1, listen to them. Don't try to talk over a person. If they're giving you an objection, listen closely. What is the real objection? What is the challenge they're having? Number 2, relate to them. Say, look, I know how you feel. I felt exactly the same way, or I can appreciate how you feel, right? Like if somebody says, hey, I just had a baby, I wouldn't go, hey, I know how you feel. Because I might not know how they feel, but I can relate to their pain, right? Number 3 is tell stories. So if somebody has a limiting belief in themselves or limiting belief in their business, or they're not sure if they could succeed in this, give them stories. Say, hey, they say, hey, look, I've got 3 kids. I don't know if I can succeed in this business. Say, hey, let me tell you a story about this lady who has 3 kids and what she done in her business. Somebody says, hey, look, I don't drive the car. I don't think I can become successful. Hey, let me tell you a story about this lady, who's afraid of driving her own Mercedes, etc. And you can do a bunch of different stories to use to overcome people's objections. And then lastly, number 4, ask if I would you. So if somebody says, hey, look, I don't know if I could do this, without having a lot of money. You can say, hey, look, if I could show you how to do this business without investing a bunch of money, would you be ready to get started? Or if I could show you how to do this business without having a bunch of contacts, would you be ready to get started? And ask them if I would you, right? And when it comes to closing, once somebody's seen the presentation, you can use the 6-step close. So first of all, as soon as they saw the business presentation, as soon as they saw the video, ask them, what did you like the best? Never ask people, what did you think about it? Because that invites critic. Instead, ask them, what did you like the best? Because then they will share, oh, I like that, I like this, I like that. And ask them, go, yeah, is that important to you? Wow, awesome. So dig deeper, because this is where they're selling themselves on joining your business, right? So, and once they finish with that, say, hey, is there anything else you liked about it? Oh yeah, I also liked about this and that and that. Awesome, is that important to you? Do you like, is that really something nice? Blah, blah, so get it as much as they can, because they can sell themselves on it, right? Then ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being you have 0 interest and 10 being you're ready to join, where are you right now? And if anything above 1 is good. If it's 1, like they have 0 interest, but if it's 2, that means they have some interest, right? If they're 10, of course, you get them to sign up, right? But whatever they are, you can then move them closer. So if somebody says to me, well, I'm 7, then, hey, what do we need to do to take you from 7 to 10? And they might say, well, I need to try some product, or I need to whatever, right? And then you ask the 3 important questions. You ask them, 1, how much money would you need to make in this part-time for it to be worth your time? And you get them to give you a figure, whether it's £100 a month, £200, 500, 1,000, whatever. Then the second question is, how many hours per week would you be realistically able to commit to this business? So they might say, well, I could commit 5 hours a week, or 10 hours a week, or 15 hours a week, whatever, right? And then last, you ask them, how many months would you be prepared to work this business to get to that income, right? So they might say, well, I could do this for 6 months, right? So then you do the last, if I would you. Say, well, if I could show you how to make the £500 a month that you want to, by investing the 5 hours a week that you could, and do it in the next 6 months, would you be ready to join, right? But it's important when you're asking those 3 questions, how much money would you need to be making? How many hours could you invest? And how many months would you do this? Don't suggest them. Get them to tell you, because you'll see their expectations. You see if their expectations are realistic. Because some people will say to you, well, how much money would you like to make part-time for it to be worth your while? And they'll go, 4,000 a month. And you go, well, how much money do you make in your full-time job? Oh, 1,500. So you're making 1,500 in your full-time job, or you want to make 4,000 part-time in this? Does that make sense to you? Right? So you might need to bring their expectations right down. Because, oh, that's different, isn't it? Because most network marketers go, yeah, no problem. You'll make all the money you want. Just sign here, just buy the sample kit, right? You want to be the person who makes their expectations real. Go, hey, look, I don't think that's possible. One of these figures will have to change. If you want to make that type of money, then you're going to have to do a lot more hours or many more months, right? To develop that type of income, right? So that's closing. And you want to make your business in a way that when your prospect looks at your business, they need to say, this looks simple, I think it will work, and I think I can do it. So try to simplify your business as much as you can. This is one of the reasons why I love showing people the video instead of presenting the business yourself. Because when you show people the video, they look at that and they go, I could do that. I could show a video to other people. Or when you bring somebody to a presentation and sit them in front of your sponsor, again, they will go, I could do that. That's doable, right? But if you do it all yourself, very often you'll do a fantastic presentation, but the person will go, I could never do that. That just looks so complicated. I could never learn all of that, right? So that's why it's so important, to make the business as simple as possible. Think about it. Would an 8-year-old understand what to do in this place? Would an 8-year-old understand? So make it simple. you know, I've heard this, I can't remember now. I'm not going to confuse you. Okay. Also, we had a very interesting author at the event called Alex Banayan, and he wrote a book called The Third Door. Now, it's a great book, so I recommend you read it, and I'm going to get it too to read. But basically, the whole premise of it that, you know, when you want to get into something, imagine getting into a nightclub, right? So there's a first door, which is the main entrance, right? So this is where most people will come in to the main entrance, you know, and that's where they stand in a queue for an hour, and then they get inside the nightclub, right? Then there's a second door, which is around the back door where the VIPs, the very important people, come and they get let in through the back door, you know, special treatment, etc. And most people think that these are the only two doors, you know, so either I'm with everybody or I have to be like a special person, etc. But the concept is that there's also a third door. There's like a creative way. Maybe you can climb in through the bathroom window or maybe go through another door, you know, with the delivery guy or whatever, right? So like people who achieve great things in life, very often they found the third door. They found a way how to overtake the market, how to, you know, invent a new product, how to think outside the box, etc. So you also want to be a person who in your network marketing business is always looking for a third door, always looking for a creative way, not to do what everybody else is doing, because that's usually completely ineffective, and not to worry about what select few do who have incredible talent or who are already great speakers or are already came into this business from another business where they have a lot of experience, etc. You know, because you can't, you know, they're at their 10-year of journey and you're at your first year of journey, so you can't really compare yourself with those people. But be a person who always is creative, who always looks for different ways and different approaches, how you can prospect, how you can sell products, how you can approach people, etc. Look for the third door. Awesome. Are you guys getting any value so far? Let me know in the comments. Or maybe you're hating all of this. Okay. And don't hate your mistakes. Don't hate your mistakes, because the only way you can learn from your mistakes if you look at them as gifts. So if you're hating your mistakes that you made in the past, then that prevents you from learning from those mistakes. That prevents you from owning, you know, those learning experiences. So always look at the mistake. Even now, as you're making mistakes, like if you go and do a presentation to somebody and you completely mess it up, you know, just think to yourself, awesome, this person allowed me to practice for free on them, right? I messed it up completely, but they allowed me to practice for free and I can learn something from that experience, right? So believe that, you know, when you're showing the business to other people, you're changing their lives. You're giving them a gift, right? Because if you look at it as just I'm earning money, then it's very, very difficult to be inspired to do it every single day. But if you look at it as giving a gift to other people, then you look at it a completely different way, right? And there's no faster path to success than having a mentor, than following somebody who already done the results, right? Because most expensive thing in life is wasted time. If you lose 500 pounds today, you can go and make the 500 pounds next month and make the money back. But if you lose 3 months, if you lose 6 months, if you lose a year, that's a year that you will never get back. That's it. Once it's gone, it's gone. So one of the fastest way to cut the learning curve, to speed up the success, is by having mentor, right? And mentors come in different shapes and forms. You can read a book and learn from that, from a person who wrote. He becomes your mentor, or listening to audio program, or watching a video. But one of the most powerful ways, apart of having a direct mentor, somebody who works with you one-on-one, but that's usually quite expensive, that probably the most effective way is to go to those events. You know, like we just came back from Las Vegas, and 3 days we spent at GoPro. Again, I'll be talking about this a lot, guys. But one of the things that happens, you know, like 2 days out of those 3, we started at like 10 o'clock in the morning and we finished at 10 o'clock at night. Now, I know that even if I bought live streaming ticket for that event and I was at home, I wouldn't have watched it from 10 till 10. I would have found a distraction. I would have had to go pick up the kids. I would have had to go make a cup of tea, and I would have missed half of that training. But because I was there, you just don't leave. You just sit there for the whole, you want to toilet and you say, oh my God, when is this break, right? But you still stay there for the whole thing because you don't want to miss the next speaker. You don't want to miss the next speech. You know what I mean? So again, I'm going to be repeating myself. guys, you have to be there next year. Whatever it takes, do whatever, I don't know, sell some products, you know, go and recruit a bunch of people. Whatever you need to do, you need to be there next year. Trust me, you'll thank me for it. You know, when you'll be sitting there next year, 2019 GoPro, you'll be sitting there saying, oh my gosh, thank you, Gediminas, for making me go here, for telling me to come. Okay, so that's that. All right. Oh, and by the way, if you're in the hole right now, stop digging, guys. Right? If you're in a hole, stop digging. Okay. All right. Next thing is KPI. That stands for key performance indicators. Right? So number one key performance indicator for your business is how many people in your team are making money. You want to make sure that you help as many people as possible to make at least $1, at least £1, at least some money, right? Now you might think it's crazy, you know, if somebody makes £1, what difference does it make? It's like not making any money. You'd be surprised. They have proven statistically that people who within 90 days, 3 months of joining business, don't make any money, don't make a penny, 20% of those people will stay in the business. But people who within 90 days make at least £1, $1, 70% of them will stay in the business. That's 20 and 70%. How many people do you want to stay in your business? So make sure that people in your team at least sell a couple of products, at least do one party, at least do something to make some money so they can see this business works, right? Instead of joining them and going, yeah, maybe one day they will buy something, maybe one day they'll sell something. Because if it's been 3 months since they joined and they haven't purchased anything, then obviously they haven't sold anything, which means they haven't made any money, which means they're on their way out already, right? So do that. Number 2 is core rank. You know, in our business, core rank is 21% level. You know, and in different businesses, there's different core ranks, but a core rank is basically, it's basically the rank that all the rest of the ranks get built from. You know, so think about if you're in a different company, think about what rank in your business is the rank that you build all the other ranks from. And then think to yourself, how many people are hitting that rank in my team, right? Yes, the information for the next event in Las Vegas, if you go to networkmarketingpro.com, networkmarketingpro.com, and then just click on events, you'll see the details for the GoPro 2019 in there. Right. So number 2 performance indicator is how many people are hitting that core rank in your team, and are you on that core rank? Number 3 is convention attendance. So how many people from your team attending the big events, like the national conference, like the GNF, like the GoPro, right? The more you increase that number, the more your business is going to explode. So one of the biggest goals after building influencers, which we spoke earlier on, the second biggest goal in your business should be bringing as many people to big events as possible from your team, which incidentally, guess what? If you bring people to like a GoPro event, there's a big chance that they will turn into an influencer in your team, you know, so it sort of serves each other. Okay, now I'm going to share with you some network marketing superpowers. Okay, so superpower number 1 in network marketing is speed. Get faster, become fast in this business. You know, success loves speed. So if you're trying to do this business slowly, you can do it slowly, but it's much more painful. It's much more difficult. Number 2 superpower in network marketing is, hey, surprise, surprise, consistency. Again, I'm going to be drumming this into you guys as much as I can, as often as I can. You have to become consistent. There's no way around it. Whether it's you doing your Facebook Lives, whether you're approaching people, whatever you do, become consistent. It will compress your learning curve. It will shorten your learning curve, and you'll become so much more successful if you just stay consistent. And guess what? I'm telling this because I wasn't consistent. I used to go call 20 people in a day, then do nothing for 3 weeks. Then go and do a massive, you know, prospecting event, and then go do nothing for 2 days, you know, and so on. And it's just your business is like that then. But if you just stay consistent, even if you approach 2 people a day or 3 people a day, if you do it every single day, you build a habit and your business just changes. Become consistent. Number 3 is emotional resilience. You know, become a person who don't get, you know, knocked down by disappointments. Manage your disappointments. Discipline your disappointments. You know, you will get disappointed. So prepare for that in advance. Number 4, which we just discussed, is simplicity. Superpower in network marketing number 4 is simplicity. Keep it simple, right? Make it simple. as much as you can, whether it's a getting started process, whether it's a recruitment process, whether it's a sales process, or whatever it is. How can you simplify everything that is understandable, that it's easier, that it's not 57 points? It's like just few things, 5 points to this, 5 points to that, 3 points to this, etc. How you can simplify. Number 5, superpower in network marketing is relationships. Building long-lasting relationships, making friends out of your business partners, out of your team members, will make you a super network marketer. Number 6 superpower is promoting events. Most importantly, promoting that new product that's got launched, promoting that discount, the promotion, the event or something, right? So become a master promoter, especially to events. Get as many people as possible onto those events. You'll see what's going to start happening in your business. Number 7 is strategies. Developing strategies for your business, how to stay on track, how to make, improve the retention in your business, how to improve recruitment in your business, etc., etc., etc. So think about how you can develop strategies. Because if you have a challenge once, it might be just a fluke. It might have happened for once. But if you get the same challenge again and again and again, that means you have to inbuild a strategy to stop that problem from happening. Let's say every time you do a presentation, people say, is this a pyramid scheme, right? Now, if it happens once, it happened once. But if every single time you do a presentation, people say, is this a pyramid scheme? What I would do, I would inbuild a strategy in my presentation where at the very beginning, I'd go, our company is a legal company. I would never offer you something illegal like pyramids. This company is a network marketing business, which is legal, registered in UK. And I would never do something illegal and wouldn't offer anything illegal to you. Guess what? If I said that at the beginning of the presentation, there's no bloody way that at the end of the presentation, they'll go, is this a pyramid, right? Because I already told them it's not a pyramid, right? And things like that, or if getting people always telling you, oh, I don't like selling. I couldn't do this business because it's sales. Again, you want to inbuild that at the beginning of your presentation where you go, hey, this business, you don't have to sell. You can use the products, share the business opportunity with others, and just build a massive network of consumers, right? Well, some people will like to sell and they will sell, no problem, but you don't have to. You get what I mean? So think about what's happening consistently and where do you need to implement systems in your business strategies that can help you to avoid it, right? So these are the 7 superpowers. All right, are you still okay, guys? I know I'm talking fast. All right, now I'm going to show you something with my hand, right? So this, how many fingers are on the hand? 5 fingers, right? Hopefully, unless you've been playing with a saw. Okay, so finger number 1 is this, right? Thumbs up, right? So it stands for positivity. In your business, you have to be positive. You have to be positive at all times. You can't allow negativity to knock you down. You can't allow the negativity to stop you in your business. So this is your thumbs up. The second finger is this finger, the pointing finger, right? And this finger shows direction, right? So you have to have a direction in your business. Where do you want your business to go? Where do you want your life to go? You have to have a direction, right? Then after this finger, we've got the third finger, the middle finger, right? And like, I don't know, can I show it? I'll show it anyway, right? So that's the middle finger, right? And I know it's a bit negative, right? Like we have like a universal international meaning for that middle finger, right? But really, if you think about it, that middle finger, it means attitude, right? It's saying, hey, I don't care what you think about me. Hey, I don't care what you say about me, right? So that's the middle finger, right? So middle finger is your attitude. You have to have an attitude where you don't care what other people will say about you. You don't care what other people will think about you. Because when you are that $1 million earner, when you're making those $83,000 a month and you're on that stage, will you care what other people think about you? Will you care what other people say about you? No, because you're a successful person. So why would you care about it now, right? So middle finger is the attitude. Then the fourth finger is the wedding band finger, right? And that finger really shows values, right? So you have to have values in your business and in your life, like respecting other people, like treating other people fairly, like being a good friend, so all of those values, you have to have values, you have to have integrity in your business. I used to do a training where I would say there's 3 levels of commitment. I'll try it, I'll do my best, and the best level is I'll do whatever it takes. But some people do a little bit too much. They do things that are unethical. They do things that are not good, simply, and that's not right. Even if you do this and nobody else see it, as you try to get your better results and you cheat your way or you take shortcuts, etc., you know it. And when you know it, you're out of integrity. And the worst thing to be is out of integrity when you know you're doing something that's not right, you're doing something that's not on, you know something is, it's just not good, right? So have values in your business. And the last one is little finger, right? And little finger is details. So raise your hand now as high as you can. Raise your hand as high as you can. Okay, okay, okay. I can see hands going up, okay? And now raise it a little bit higher. And a little bit higher. And a little bit more higher. And a little bit more higher. Can you see that? That's the detail. That's the little finger. It keeps going up, right? At the beginning, I said raise it as high as you can. But when I said raise it higher, you raise it a little bit higher and then a little bit higher, right? So that's the details. You know, little details matter in your business. You know, that's where you should try and do things as best as you can at the beginning. Don't do half-heartedly, then raise a little bit more. Then because some people, you say, raise your hand up, and they go like this. You know, and go as high as you can, like this. You know, right? So if you do things properly the first time, if you do things straight away, then it's easier to get those results. So it doesn't matter if until now, maybe you haven't been doing this 100%, but make a decision to do this properly, to do it 100%, and you'll see how, again, your business will start changing, okay? All right. I've got a lot of stuff, guys. I don't think I can go through all of it. Also, what's very, very important to understand that those leaders, those people on a stage who are making who are making $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, they haven't done anything you cannot do. They haven't done anything you cannot do. All they done, they spoke to more people, they were more consistent, they were more persistent, they were more hard workers, but they haven't done anything that you couldn't do. They haven't done levitation tricks, they haven't done somersaults, they haven't done anything unusual that you couldn't do to become successful, right? So it's really, really important to understand that, you know, because some of us, we sort of, you know, we sometimes think that other people are superhumans because they become successful, but very often it's just those small things. It's that little finger. It's just because they did that one call extra every single day, that they send one message extra every day, they spoke to one person extra at the petrol station, and that made the difference, you know, to make it or break it, you know, whereas other people didn't do it, because, you know, it's easy to do, but it's also easy not to do, right? All right. How many of you would like an explanation of life? How many of you would like an explanation of life? Would you like me to explain life for you? Right? Since we added as well, I might do it, right? So God created the dog, and he said to the dog, you'll be standing at the door and barking at other people, and I'm going to give you 20 years to live. Dog went, you know what? 20 years to bark at other people at the door is a little bit too much. Give me 10, I'll give you the 10 back. Then God created the monkey, and he said, well, you're just going to be having a lot of fun and monkeying around, and I'll give you 20 years to live too. And monkey said, you know what? 20 years for monkeying around seems like a lot of time. Give me 10, I'll give you the 10 back. Then he created the cow, and he said, well, you're going to be working, you know, you're going to be working the rest of your life, you're working hard, etc. And I'm going to give you 80 years. And cow said, oh my God, working for 80 years sounds a lot. You know, I'll take 40 and I'll give you another 40 back. And then God created a man, and he said, I'll give you 20 years to live. You know, and the man was like, what? You know, 20 years only? And then he said, you can have, you know, you can enjoy yourself, you can eat, sleep, you know, just enjoy life, and I'll give you 20 years. And the man was like, what? 20 years for that? That's not enough. I tell you what, I'll take the 20, but also I'll take the 40 from the cow, I'll take the 40 from the monkey, and 10 from the dog, right? And that's why the first 20 years in your life, you live, you eat, you sleep, you just enjoy your life for the first 20 years, right? Then the next 40 years, you work like that cow, you know, you're working hard like that cow. And then the next 10 years, you know, you sort of retire, you know, you start having, grandkids, and you being like a monkey for the grandkids, you know, you're making them laugh, you're making fun, etc. And then the last 10 years, you're like that dog standing at the door and barking at everybody else who's passing around. So that's the meaning of life for you guys as well. You know, since we added, we might as well. Okay, I'm going to give you a rule of 5. And a rule of 5 is about a story about cutting a tree. So imagine you decided to cut a tree, and you went outside, you took your axe, you went to the tree, and you went 5 times. And you come back home and put the axe down. Next day, you go out to the same tree, go bam, 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 5 times. You come back. What will happen eventually if you keep doing that every single day? Anybody? The tree will fall, right? You'll cut the tree down, right? Eventually. Okay, so there's 5 very important lessons in the story then. First, you must know what you want to accomplish. So in the story, the man knew that he wants to cut the tree down, right? Too many people, they don't even know what they want in life. They don't even know what they want to achieve in business, right? So number 1, you need to know what you want to accomplish. Number 2, you must have the right tool. You know, if you took a baseball bat instead of an axe, you could be banging that tree for the rest of your life. You ain't gonna fall down, right? So you have to have the right tools in business if you want to build a successful business. Number 3, you have to be focused. You know, if you went to a different tree every single day, then you'd cut no trees down. You know, you'd just be hurting a lot of trees. You'll just be scarring a lot of trees, but you wouldn't be cutting any one of them down, right? Again, a lot of people do that. Number 4 is you have to be consistent. So you have to go at it every single day. Because if you went there, bam, 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 5 times, and then you didn't go and cut it for another month, it will heal itself up and you have to start all over again, right? So you have to be consistent. And then number 5, you have to keep swinging at it until it falls. You know, so it's a very important word in your life and in your business to have like a motto, like a credo in your life, is until. It's one of the most important words. I will do this until I get results. Not if, you know, until I get, you know, until I lose my motivation or until I don't feel like it, until I get the results done. You don't have a chance. Quitting is not an option, right? You keep going at it. You keep going at it, you know? And the thing is to understand that it's this, you know, John Maxwell showed this, right? And he stood up and he went, this is success. And everybody looked at him. And he stood for a very long time like that. And people started going like, is this like, has he got a bad back or whatever? He said, the whole of the life is uphill. Your business is going to be uphill. Your relationships is going to be uphill battle. Your health is uphill battle. Everything in your life will be uphill. But most people have an uphill hopes, but they have downhill habits. And you cannot have that. You have to be understand and you have to be willing to always go uphill. It's the hard way, but that's the way to success. There's no other way around it. It's just uphill. Nobody becomes successful by mistake. Nobody wakes up on top of the Mount Everest and go, how did I get here, right? You have to do it on purpose. You have to do it on intention, right? Intentionally, right? So intentional life is deliberate, it's consistent, and it's willful. So you have to understand that if you want to succeed in business, it's going to be an uphill battle, but it's okay. Because if you're working, you're climbing, you're going uphill. But if you stop working, you're sliding down, you're not climbing, and you're not staying in place. And the problem is that you slide down faster than you climb. So the more time you take off work, the more you slide down, and before you know it, you're back at the bottom of the mountain. Then you start climbing again, and then you stop working and you slide back down. Then you start working again and you slide back down. So this is why the consistency is so important. It's okay to have low production day, but it's not okay to have a no production day. You should always do at least a little bit for your business every single day. Speak to that one more person. Talk to that one more prospect. Send that one more message, just to keep it pushing forward and forward and forward, okay? There's 5 things for intentional life. First thing is personal development and growth. You have to be always growing yourself personally, reading, watching programs, attending trainings, like attending this webinar today. Number 2 is attitude. You know, you have to have the right attitude even when negativity kicks in, you know, because that's when the negativity will kick in. Number 3 is purpose. You have to be intentional with your purpose, because purpose will stabilize you. It'll keep you on track if you have a right purpose, because that will get you out of bed in the morning. Number 4 part to be intentional at is relationships. You know, building those long-lasting relationships with other people. And finally is significance. They say success is all about me. You know, I want to achieve this, I want to succeed that. But significance is about others. You know, there's only so much money you need to survive. There's only so many cars and diamonds and handbags you can have. But at some point when you have all of that, then the biggest things in your life becomes growth and contribution. How can you grow yourself? How can you become a better person? And how you can contribute to your team, to your society, to your family, more and more and more and more. Okay? I think we're going to wrap it up here. There's a few more things left, but we're going to wrap it up at this point. But before we finish off, guys, I want to leave you with this message. You have greatness inside you. I promise you that. You can do more than you can even imagine. You are a masterpiece. You are creation of God, of universe, of whatever you might want to believe, etc. You are unrepeatable masterpiece. You know, there's no one like, there's never been somebody like you before, and there's never going to be another person like you after you. You know, you can help people feel hope. You can inspire other people. You can create things on purpose. This is your moment now. You know, you were born to win. Everything is in your DNA. You have, you know, the ancient kings and ancient conquerors and ancient, you know, superstars all in your blood. It's been carrying on from decade, from century to century to you, okay? So we are gonna, this is our time now to succeed. You know, we're gonna make impossible into possible. We're gonna make ordinary into extraordinary. We're gonna work like we've never worked before. We're gonna create 6-figure, 7-figure even earners in this business. We're gonna break through all the barriers that might be there. We're gonna get so good they won't be able to ignore us. You will get noticed, right? We're going to change lives, and we're gonna change the world as we grow our visions, as we grow our business. Thank you very much, guys, for listening to this training. I hope you got value. God bless you. Have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you at the top. Bye for now.